All right, so this is Record of Gaia, Group 2. I'm still
Yeah.
Alex, still the DM. Who is the player in this game?
I'm Chris. And should I introduce the character?
If you want to.
Yeah. I'm playing Imrik Melodian, who is what he thinks to be half human, half something else that he doesn't know. And his entire goal right now is to find out what that other half is.
All right, well, we'll hit you with the old start music and then we will get this little mini session underway. Boom. And the vibe is set. All right. So, Imrik, waking up alone again, you find yourself where you arrived last night, an abandoned town with many dilapidated buildings, one of which seemed and still seems to be sturdy enough to keep you dry from the impending storm that has seemingly followed you every minute of every hour of every day since you left your hometown. It's yet to actually rain, but every time you look, it looks like the storm is encroaching very slowly but very surely, but it is yet to break. You do, however, wake up this morning to strange sounds coming from outside of this house and around this town that kind of feel like someone or something else might be in this town. And when you arrived last night, you kind of investigated and walked around a little bit, and you didn't quite see anybody else or really anything living for that matter. There are some older trees that seem to have lost their texture and their leaves and their color, but nothing that's in the active point of just, nothing here is thriving, as the kids say. Um, but what do you do? What's your morning look like when you wake up and you start to feel this sensation and kind of take in your surroundings?
Well, first off, this village is just completely abandoned. There's like no one around.
Did not seem to be anyone here last night when you arrived, yes.
Okay.
It was
Well,
dark when you arrived, and with your dark vision, your perception's a little more limited, but from the spot that you looked around to find a safe place to be, you didn't seem to
mhm,
notice anyone or anything else at that time.
mhm, mhm. Well, the first thing I would probably do when I wake up, assuming that I'm probably gonna set out soon to keep on looking for more people, someplace more suitable to stay, I'll probably take out some rations, which is probably some dried meat and a biscuit or something, and I'll munch on that for breakfast. If I have if I have some coffee like in my pack, I'd love to brew some of that up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And yeah, I'll just spend some time having some breakfast, waiting to get on the road again.
As you kind of sit there making breakfast, kind of thinking of your travels so far, you remember and you notice the dull headache that you have had since you left your home is still there. It seems to be the worse it's been. Whether or not the caffeination from coffee will quell it or make it worse, you're not quite sure. But as you're kind of thinking back to your travels, Here's a little quick peek at the world map. You are from the mysterious continent or region of Vasquet that for you to leave there is something of a feat of its own because people go there, but as far as you're aware, nobody really ever leaves. The whole region itself is one big mystery. Compared to the three other major lands, the Principality of Fey, which is more of a Fey realm, which is still attached to the prime material plane. You see a lot of the fancier characters, a lot more of those Fey-esque kind of wild beings there. The Zeflax Empire being where there are many, many humans, as well as non-humans and whatnot. There's a lot of non-magical creatures there, but it's more of a what some would see as a like prime material, normal kind of human plane almost. And then the Twilight Lands being that equivalent of like the Shadowfell, not yet ripped apart from the mainlands, as all of them are still interconnected, but nobody really knows what happens and who's from and the type of things that go on in Vasquet where you're from. Um, Things there are strange and weird, but as of right now, you have crossed over the border. You're kind of right over the edge on about this red road here in the Zeflax Empire. So you've crossed over. You're at this weird transitional point between the two regions, and the headache that you left town with is still there. It hasn't gotten better, hasn't necessarily gotten worse, it's just become more pronounced. But as you set up your breakfast and as you drink the coffee and kind of ponder where to go, you don't really have any set direction. You just kind of you left your town and you started walking to find the next town and then maybe the next one or maybe some more answers and some more people. You hear off in the distance this weird, deep, guttural laughing. It comes from like over this direction.
Laughing.
hmm And it kind of chills you down to your bones.
Ooh. Is it still dark outside?
It is daybreak by about 30 minutes.
Okay. Ooh. Is there a window that I can peek out onto the main road?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can certainly look out.
I'm gonna just like peek my head a little bit. I don't want to expose myself too much.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
Of course, of course. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. Okay.
Why are you rolling it 4 times? We'll just take
It was taking too long.
we'll take the first one. It was a nat 20.
Yes.
As far as you can see down, and you can see about from where you are, you can see like your head's basically outlined. You can see into this building, and then you can pretty much see across here. But your vision pretty much only goes to about here, just because of the angle of the buildings and stuff.
Oh,
And
okay.
you don't see anything. You can't see past there. But in the space that you can see in all of the windows of the house, the floor that you are on, if you were to look out all of them, you don't see the source of where this laughing is coming from. So you imagine it's from a spot that is just out of your angular vision. So
Okay. Can I very can I cast minor illusion onto this main road, onto a place where I can see?
absolutely.
And I'll do like a picture of a bunny, and then can I also cast it again to make the noise of a bunny too?
Oh yeah, sure.
Cool.
We'll say you want it like right here.
Yeah.
All right.
And I just want to try to lure whatever is out there.
Can you do both of the effects on it at one time?
I can't do it in one casting, but it's not concentration, so
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. Well, the illusion ends if you dismiss it or cast it again.
Ooh,
So
okay.
you could do one
Then
or the other.
can I make the sound and then make the image?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like make the sound to try and grab the attention, and then
Yeah,
after
yeah,
a
yeah.
second, try and grab it. Yeah, you absolutely can do that. So as you make the sound of like a bunny hopping and kind of skittering around on this dirt road, um, then you almost immediately turn it into that of a rabbit. You hear the laughing getting a little bit closer. Um, what is your spell save DC?
14.
14. You kind of see approaching from the road to investigate it this weird looking creature. Looking at this creature, roll me a perception at, well, yeah, 21, never mind. So from this distance, you can see that it kind of just is cackling. Um, this, you've never seen something like this before, but from here, you can see that it's got fangs, but doesn't really look like it has any lips. It's got bright yellow bulbs for eyes that don't seem to have pupils. Its skin is like this pale blue color with no hair, but it seems to be about your height and your build. Um, it's got that pale blue skin. It's got claws, and it's laughing uncontrollably, and it looks like that. It almost looks like a weird, creepy, strange version of yourself if you were to let yourself go and be corrupted. It's going to make an investigation check against this little rabbit, though. And it rolls a 17. So it swipes down on this rabbit and knows that it is not a rabbit, and it just take it off. And it looks around. I'm gonna have it make a perception check as you're looking out the window, so you're not hiding. Give me. It rolled a 5. It.
We're good. We're good.
He doesn't see the source of where it came from, but you can see that he's looking around, and he doesn't look necessarily aggressive. He just looks confused and like he's trying to figure out where this fake rabbit came from.
Ooh, I don't want to know where it came from. Can I just it's laughing, right? Like it's making noise uncontrollably.
Yeah,
Then
it's laughing.
can I just hide back behind the wall and listen to the laughter to see where it goes?
100% you can.
And then I don't know if can I ready a firebolt in case he just sprints through the window or something?
Yeah, for sure. So as it's kind of laughing and just kind of just walking and investigating this town a little bit, you hear it. What languages do you speak?
Common, deep speech, giant, and primordial.
You hear it speaking and laughing, and in between the laughs, you catch bits and pieces of words. And it takes you a minute because you don't immediately recognize kind of what they are. But you know the vocal patterns and the idiosyncrasies of the language, and then once you sit and actually focus for a second, you realize that this thing is laughing and speaking in deep speech.
Okay.
And it just says, it's repeating in deep speech, saying, "Embrace me and your power will grow. Reject me and your past will remain forever unknown."
Oh,
And it's just walking, and it's kind of like scratching at its stomach and its chest there. You see some of the flesh is kind of peeling away, but it's just laughing and repeating and laughing and repeating and laughing and repeating. Then after a few minutes of the laughing and the repeating, it just walks back this way down the path, but it continues laughing, repeating, laughing, repeating.
okay. It doesn't ever go where? Is it just going back?
It goes down here. It kind of kind of patrols the town in a strange way. If my mouse wants to work, it ends up over here. Then it disappears out your sight for a while. But you, as you focus, you can still kind of hear the laughing echoing in this dusty town. And then eventually you hear it underneath the tree, and it just seems to climb the tree a little bit, and then it climbs back down the tree, and then it just seems to now be walking in between houses.
Okay. This entire time, I'm just like huddled in the corner with like my knees to my chest, just hoping this thing goes away. And then like if it's after like a good like 10 or 15 minutes, because that would probably feel like forever by then.
hmm
I'm I'm probably gonna, if it ever gets to like a corner way over here and it sounds like it, I might try to get up and just make a run for it.
Okay. It eventually. I'm gonna roll a d4 and we'll see which direction it ends up going and how long it takes to get there. D4, 2. So it just continues going this way. Um, it doesn't seem like it's aggressive. It seems like it is just walking away that way. But it's not looking in your direction. So if you wish to make a run
Ooh.
for it, then you certainly have that option.
It's not aggressive, but it's saying embrace me and my power will grow.
hmm
Reject me. What happens if I reject it?
Your past will remain forever unknown.
Ah. Oh Okay. I'm gonna. Oh.
It almost sounds like it's possessed in a way, in the way that it keeps repeating and chanting and repeating and chanting.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I, after what feels like eternity, I'm gonna get up, take a couple of deep breaths, try to get my mind right,
hmm
and I'm gonna step outside.
hmm
I'm readying a firebolt in case like this thing just suddenly starts sprinting at me.
Okay.
I'm gonna like come out onto this main road,
hmm
and I'm just gonna, I guess I'll just yell at it like, "Hey, what do you want?"
What language are you yelling in?
Ooh,
Because
I'll do it in deep
you
speech.
know it speaks deep speech because it.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that in deep speech for sure.
All right.
And
Um.
like
mhm.
I, ooh, I'm like, can I have like the firebolt in my hand, like in a throwing position to just make myself look any kind more threatening?
Yeah.
Cool.
As you yell that in deep speech, you hear for a second the all of the laughing kind of stops, and the creature turns, looks at you, and goes. You hear like the bones kind of crack as it twists and turn, and then the laughs turn to shrieks all around it. So
Oh,
now they're screaming shrieks instead of laughing. Um, and all you hear back in deep speech is, "I found him! I found him!" And he's gonna run towards you, and
ah,
you can throw your firebolt if you so
ah,
choose. That's gonna hit 2, 3,
okay.
4, 5, 6. It's gonna get to this little square right here. Let me do the damage real quick. All right, and then if we can go ahead and roll initiative.
Ooh, okay.
8 and 14. It is your turn first. The
Oh, okay.
the shrieks are getting louder.
Okay. It still sounds like it's just this guy. I'm not
hmm
hearing any more shrieks in any other direction.
Nope, it seems
Okay.
like all the laughing has just turned to shrieks.
I, as soon as it starts like shrieking and starts running at me, I throw my firebolt, and like my knees are starting to shake. I feel like I'll just spaghetti right now. I don't have any strength in me. And I'm just gonna, oh, I'm I'm running the other direction.
All right.
I'm sprinting away.
Okay.
Cool.
How far is that you've ran? 30 feet so far?
30 feet.
Are you using your action to dash?
Ah, honestly, I think I am. I don't think I think I'm just scared shitless and I'm just booking it.
Um, as you book it away from this monster, you turn and sprint away. And as you're sprinting, kind of like in one of those horror movies, you end up over here. You just,
Oh,
like the town runs you
shoot.
back in the same direction. Uh, Anything on your bonus action?
Oh, shoot. Um, okay. Okay. This is big. I am going to Wait. I, as a variant human,
Mm-hmm.
have a feat called Meta Magic Adept, where it gives me 2 sorcery points, and I'm going to use those 2 sorcery points to cast a quickened version of sleep.
Oh, okay. So
Eh,
technically, you don't get the access to meta magic till level 3. So here's what we're gonna do, because I like what you're doing, but I also like the rules. So here's what we'll do:
Okay.
is we'll roll a d100, and it's gonna be a pretty low chance of success because technically your sorcerer doesn't know how to utilize meta magic yet. So
Okay.
we'll say you have a 25% chance for it to work, and if it
Okay.
works, then you can do it without problem. If it does not work, something interesting will happen. So roll me a d100, and
Something interesting.
do you want a high or a low for your 25 before you roll?
We're feeling low today.
All
We're
right,
feeling low.
so roll a d100, and if you roll a 25 or below, you can pull off your spell.
Hey!
Yeah.
We got this.
What's the
We got
range?
this.
What's the range on sleep?
Um, it's
It's 90 feet. Yeah.
90 feet
I
with 20-foot radius.
I'm pretty sure you're more than you're 90 feet. Yeah, you're 60 feet away. All right, go ahead and roll the
5d8.
5d8s.
19? 19's pretty good.
It is pretty good. It is pretty good. As he sees you turn to run, he turns around, and as he sees you, you just kind of say some magical words in deep speech, and this you see him kind of sway on his feet, and he just falls asleep, right there at where he is. Just
Okay, great.
that is his turn. I don't think there's any recovery from sleep, right?
I
I
think
think
it's just until it takes damage, or a minute later.
undead and creatures immune. Let me make sure he's not immune. He is not immune, and he is not undead.
We're
So,
good. We're good.
so sleep does work. I can't believe that pulled off and worked. That was my thought. I'm like, well, if you're gonna use a technically something you don't have access to, we're gonna roll, and we'll do that until level 3 because that's when you technically get meta magic stuff at level 3. So anytime you want
Mhm.
to do it before then, we'll just roll for it, see what happens.
That sounds great. Awesome.
So
Uh,
he's asleep right now.
okay. Step number one, we're gonna try running again,
Okay,
and pray that this works.
you end up back over here.
That's bad. Okay. Um,
I'm just gonna keep the turn order up just so we have the numbers, but effectively it's your turn until you decide to wake him up. Or is there a length of time that sleep works for?
1 minute.
All right, so you basically have a free minute to do whatever you want to do.
Oh, okay. Um, oh shoot, what do I do? I can't run? This is this is horrible. Well, here we go, I guess. We're casting dissonant whispers on this guy.
Okay,
I'm
now,
gonna speak some more deep speech and try to get in his brain.
all right. So how does this work with someone? Can he hear you when he's asleep?
Oh.
That is something. Technically he would be unconscious. can't move or speak, and is unaware of his surroundings. I mean, he's asleep. Stuff in sleeping can wake you up, and this speaks directly into his brain. So I'm going to say that he can hear you,
Yes. I want him to get like horrible
especially
nightmares.
because I think you're out of spell slots now, right? so,
I am out of spell slots now. This is all of my spells.
DC 14 Wisdom save, but this will also wake him up from the sleep. So,
Yes,
public
but
roll.
he will need to run the other direction.
He'll use half his movement to get up and then run the other way.
Yeah,
He
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Jesus, he rolled a 6.
Okay,
So
that's good.
he is no longer asleep. He rolled a 6. He has 15 more feet of movement, so 5, 10, 15. So he runs that way. And that was your action. Do you have anything you want to do on your bonus action or your movement that you still have on this turn?
I will. Nope, that's it.
Okay. He looks around to find you again, and he's going to run towards you. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then he's going to use his action to dash 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 to there. And as he gets there, the look on his face is still the one that you previously saw. It's like his mouth's wide open, like with having no lips. You're not sure if this is a sign of aggression, like he's going to bite you, or if this is a sign of laughter, because he's still holding his belly. And you see, as a bonus action, he kind of makes his hand, he like slaps his hands together, and you see this goldeny necrotic glow. It's like it's a confused kind of coloration on one of his hands, and it starts to have this like magical effect on it. And you can go ahead and roll me a let's say Arcana check or Religion, whichever one you prefer.
We'll go with Arcana.
This looks like it might be some sort of gift that was magically granted to him by somebody. It's magical in nature, you just don't quite know what it is. But as he gets closer and closer to you, you hear him say, "The Master calls me. The Master calls you. Give in to them and embrace it fully. To be sacrificed is the ultimate will of the Master." And his eyes get real big, and the yellow gets more of like a deep mustard color. Now it's your turn.
Okay. I'm just gonna really quickly, as this guy's running up onto me, talking about this master. I'm not going with any master, if that wasn't obvious. And I'm just gonna try to cast a firebolt in his face again.
Do it.
For a 22.
Oh yeah, for 4 damage. This guy's looking not pleased with his life right now.
Okay.
Anything else you want to do?
I'm just gonna keep on running away.
Okay.
I'm sprinting as fast as I can from this thing, and I'm just like occasionally turning around to throw firebolts.
Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He sees you run, he's gonna chase after you with his turn.
Okay.
He gets to here. You know that you're at like this weird space that he can't quite get to you unless he uses everything about himself to do it. So he gets there, and you see that he's laughing, and he just repeats, "To be sacrificed is the ultimate will of the Master." And he looks like he's trying to encourage either you to sacrifice yourself, or to sacrifice him, or he to sacrifice you. You can't quite tell. He wants one of you two to be sacrificed.
Sacrifice him.
It's your turn.
No, sir. I'm like practically, I'm like, he's saying all these words and they're just like not completely registering right now.
Mm-hmm.
The only goal right now is to just get away. And then like they're finally starting to like make sense as I'm throwing these firebolts. But I'm just gonna do another quick turn, throw
Christ.
another one for a 22.
For a 10 damage. That's
I'm rolling so
you are
good
rolling
today.
super well. As you are running and you just kind of just like sling this firebolt as he's laughing, and the laughs are halfway between laughing and screaming, his mouth wide open. The firebolt smashes right into the back of his throat, and you see that his whole head engulfs in flames, and the weird, slimy, aberrant nature of his body kind of dries up a little bit, and his corpse lays there defeated before you on the ground.
Ooh. Okay. I'm just after I see him engulfed, I'm collapsing to the floor, hands and knees, sweat just like dripping off of me onto the ground, making a little puddle. And I'm just gonna be panting there for a second until finally I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna try to figure out what this thing is.
Okay. You can certainly do that. Are you just investigating it? What kind of knowledge are you trying to utilize?
This he he did something with magic, right? It wasn't an object he was holding.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like, is he wearing clothes or is that just on the picture?
He is wearing those pants. That's pretty much it,
Then
though. It almost looks like he's wearing a potato sack or like a burlap sack that he's kind of just found as clothes and kind of molded into his body.
okay. Then would just like to look at, like, does this guy actually look like a spitting image of me, but just
It looks,
corrupted?
yes. You see that its bluish grayish skin has those cracks along it with some spikes sticking out from the back, from the hips, the abdomen, the back of the skull, the hair. He kind of looks almost like a weird cross between a goblinoid and a vampire from that like aesthetic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But his fingers seem abnormally long, almost like instead of just having the two bends in them, it's almost like there are five. His fingers are almost 2 to 3 times the length of normal, and at the end of
Ooh.
them are these dirty, broken fingernails. Um, you see that maybe he, based on how many teeth they have and how awkwardly shaped their jaw is, maybe they chittered and laughed their lips off by like stretching their mouth open and just like slashing at themselves so much. They
Ooh.
definitely have slash marks around their mouth. And as you kind of peer a little deeper, you can either roll me a Arcana or a Religion check, or Investigation, whatever you choose.
We'll go with Arcana.
This creature definitely seems magical in the way that it is constructed. It doesn't seem like it maybe has the ability to cast arcane magic. But kind of looking at it, you see cut into its right shoulder blade, there is a. Let me see if I can find it. There is this symbol of almost like a whirlpool, almost. Let me see if I can find you a picture of it really quickly. You don't have a super. Roll me a religion check.
Yes, sir.
13. Okay. So you see this. I don't think it's gonna work. I'm gonna send you this link real quick, and then this is the about halfway down the page. This is the thing that you see cut onto this man's back. You know it to be the symbol of Tharizdun. It's not quite as elaborate as that. It just seems to be one big swirling whirlpool, rather than having all the little side frills on it.
Oh.
But it looks like he cut it into himself. And you imagine that this is the creature that maybe gave him this ability that he used, whatever it may have been. So, and you recognize that to be the symbol of Thera's Dune.
Gotcha.
And you know that Thera's Dune is themselves a god. He is one, if I recall, he is a chaotic evil god of trickery. So, you know. But as you're kind of looking at this and remembering through all of the books that you have read, since you are a big reader and you spend a lot of your time reading, even though they are the same kind of books over and over, the more that you read the books, you find, or at least you believe that you find, the hidden mysteries between the lines of the stories. You find the stories within the stories, the secrets within the tales. You feel your headache get the worst it has ever been. It feels like your head is about to split in half. And as you're focusing and feeling your head start to split, and it's almost like reality around you is beginning to crack, you find yourself on your knees, as you kind of try and shake this headache off, you're on your knees, you're collapsed, you're trying to shake this splitting headache off, and as you kind of close your eyes for a minute to kind of just like recenter yourself, you reopen them, and you find yourself here, kind of floating in this strange world, where you see flora and fauna you've never seen. You see 10-foot tall snails that are primarily legs. This person's not here. You see jellyfish swimming in the skies. You see multiple planets off in the distance. This place feels very magical, very strange, very just overall weird. Voices in your head, you hear a cacophony of them, not just your own. They're almost like just a hodgepodge of whispers and all these you can't make out left from right, up from down, but who's saying what from where. This whole world just seems to be a mashup of kind of what you see in this image is a very brief glimpse of what you're actually feeling and witnessing in this world. The gravity feels heavier than normal, but also lighter at the same time. It's almost like up is down and down is up, and nothing really here makes sense. It feels like everything here was created by a person who was completely out of their mind. As you are kind of taking in this environment, you hear the same words, but from a different source and a different tone, in a very deep guttural, almost you feel it like it's coming from inside of your bones rather than externally. In deep speech once again, embrace me and your power will grow. Reject me and your past will remain forever unknown.
Oh. Am I like still feeling this headache? Like my head is about to explode?
No, your headache here is gone. You're just hearing all these voices and there's just so much noise in your head. But when this being speaks, they silence while they speak. And then they return when they're done.
Okay. Can I? Oh, I want to like try to call out to the voice.
Okay.
And I don't know what you are, but I need to know about what I am. But I can't do that if I'm gonna turn out like what just attacked me. How do you, what are you? How do you even know what I am?
Without me, you will become him. That was that was a future shade of what you will be. if you do not embrace me.
What are you?
Nothing that can be fully understood by human minds. But your mind is only half human, so in time you may know.
Mm. Is there like, can I try to like block out this voice?
You can certainly try to. We'll say Constitution saving throw. It's going to be a very, very high DC.
Yeah.
We'll say DC 22.
Whoa, okay.
You try to block it out, but it doesn't seem to. It seems to be waiting for your answer, but it doesn't seem to be pressing to cause you any pain. It just seems to
Mm.
be waiting.
It looked to me like whatever attacked me was already serving you. So
He
I don't believe you when
he
you say that
he
that's what happens if I don't embrace you.
he was not serving me. He was serving the one known as Tharizdun. He rejected me. That is a alternate version of you that did not embrace my gifts. He rejected me, rejected the knowledge I could provide, rejected my assistance, and became what you fought. He is not the only version of you that will be coming for you. And without me, I don't believe you can survive.
What now? Survive what? Why does Tharizdun want me? What is going on?
I cannot provide you more knowledge if you do not embrace my help. These are the terms of our agreement. You embrace me, I help you survive.
Survive what? I
The,
can't embrace you without knowing anything.
the oncoming storm.
The storm.
You wish to know where you came from, correct?
I do.
Where you came from is coming for you, and we must prepare. Allow me to help you by embracing my power. As you think about it, you realize that the power that they're using to communicate with you is very eerily similar to your telepathic abilities.
Oh,
It feels almost identical to your
oh
telepathic
man.
abilities.
What happens if I do embrace you?
I provide you with more power, more knowledge, and help guide you on your way to surviving this journey and this storm.
Will I know more about me?
Yes.
And I won't turn into what that thing was.
No. I mean, you could always choose to change your form into something different, but it would not happen to you without choice.
To change into something different.
There are many forces in this world, in this universe, that can alter what you look like and how you behave and how you act. Disregarding me inevitably leads you down a path which turns you into something similar to what you fought. That is your choice. I won't press you one way or the other. Just know you have seen but a mere fraction of what could happen. There are versions of you that are much worse than that.
But why? Why did this happen now? When you've had my entire life to do this. Why is this happening now?
You decided to search for answers, trying to find out who you were. You were protected in your home. Your father kept you protected. You left and you left his protection. Now your past is coming.
My dad kept me protected? Why didn't he say anything?
Because he didn't know.
And what is this storm? You can't tell me what the storm is? You can't tell me anything?
The storm is something from your bloodline. That's all I can say. Any more at this early of a juncture would crack your mind, and you would be worse off than the thing you fought.
From my bloodline?
Hmm?
Are you related to me at all?
I cannot reveal any more information without breaking your mind.
Breaking my mind. What is happening? Can you... Will this be the last time I see you?
No.
And if I accept whatever power you're trying to give me,
Hmm.
I don't know how good it is, but can you swear to me that I'm not gonna turn out like what that was?
I can swear that you will not turn out as that worshipper if there is Dune, yes.
Okay, okay. I'm going to be able to figure out what I am if I do this.
Correct.
No more living in darkness. No more not knowing what I am and why people don't like me or treat me the same as others.
Correct.
I'm I'm gonna have reasons for everything.
Yes.
Ah, can I? Is there a way I could communicate with you, or is this just you see me when you feel like it?
You can. It's harder for you to communicate with me at this juncture, as you're not as powerful as you need to be to do so. Eventually, yes, you can. But at this early stage in your development, no, not by will. I can communicate with you. You can try to send me signs, and you can try to think harder and meditate, and it might break through. But without the appropriate magic and magical strength, your thoughts cannot cross the realms and the planes. I have the ability to do so. You cannot yet. I can communicate through time and space, whereas you cannot. Not yet.
Okay. I I need to know what I am. how do I how do I even start to begin to embrace you?
I'll send you to a place where you can. And as you say, how do I start to begin to embrace you? You feel a sense of pride and welcoming kind of flow over you, kind of like when your dad would tell you he was proud of you. But this is a weird, like a weird concoction of it, where it feels almost slimy, but not in a bad way. And as you get this feeling, it starts warm and then becomes very cold, and then your whole body just kind of seems to melt. And as you shake it off, you find yourself here. From a distance, not far away, just a short jaunt, maybe 100 feet, you see a small shrine with the pathway lit by these green aberrant bulbs, with the occasional stone step in the way, and you hear the sloshing of a deep, dark ocean that seems to just be a blackened, wet abyss. But you do see this shrine, and you feel the urge. You feel the same sensation as to when he said, "Embrace me," pulling from this shrine.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna going to walk up to this shrine and not really knowing what to do, I'll just lay my hand on it and sort of just think to myself how I want these answers and that I just need to know more about what I am.
As you lay your hand upon the shrine, you see and you hear like a mechanical switch kind of flip, and a stone tablet slides out of the way, and from beneath it, a small pillar rises. And on this small pillar is maybe a 6-inch by 6-inch tablet. Upon it reads, "Blood for knowledge, freedom, and power," with a small blade edged with dried blood sitting beside this tablet. And you see, as your eyes kind of wash over the entirety of this shrine, there seems to be a small little bowl, which looks like that is the donation bowl for what you assume to be blood. And as you kind of look out, you see that there's a dried blood river that seems to run from the shrine down into the deep, darkened ocean.
Just from looking at this shrine, there's no symbols of Therazun.
Nope. This seems to be free of all religious iconography.
So there's like no symbols or anything. It's just nothing that I can identify. Okay.
Nope. The only thing that feels the same is it feels the same as where you just were.
Can I hear the voices still, or is it just silence now?
It's silence, but your headache is returning. This time more powerful than before, not enough to bring you to your knees, but the headache is there.
Can I try to use my telepathy to like reach out,
Mm-hmm.
see if he's still here?
As you try to reach out, doesn't feel like you can grab onto anything.
Damn it. Okay. Okay. We're gonna use the knife that someone has clearly used before.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me sort of feel like I'm part of some big scheme, but I'll cut a little slice open in my palm and let blood drip into the bowl.
As the blood drips into the bowl, your hand is almost like a magnet pulled to the bowl, and it's kind of suctioned there, and your whole body tenses up, and you feel this surge of what feels like electricity, and then almost like all of your blood is on fire, and then you just feel this surge of hidden power from within you release. And you see, for what feels like hours, but is in reality only a few seconds, you feel like you see the secrets of the universe. Your mind travels to many different realms that you have never heard of. It travels to libraries you have never seen, underground, underwater, floating in the sky, just these beacons of knowledge. And then you see worlds burning. You see darkness entrenching everything. And then, as fast as it hits you, it fades. Your headache, gone. Its power, tempered. And as you're kind of recollecting yourself, you are shunted back to the town where you saw this mimicked version of yourself. And as you kind of, all the power leaving your body and the quick shunting from here to another realm to someplace else back to here, your body kind of collapses for a second, and you just kind of end up on your butt. And as you're sitting there, something kind of tickles your brain to look inside of your travel pack. And inside of your travel pack, as you start to go through it, your hand, you notice that your hand is taken to a couple different things. You see that you now have 2 new potions that you did not have before, 2 potions of healing. You find a small scroll. You find 15 gold pieces that you did not previously have. And you find this new book. And you're pretty protective of your books, and you know what books you have and what books you don't have. This is a book you've never seen. And as you kind of flip through this book, quickly skim through it, you feel like all of the experiences that you've just had are now slowly, they've been locked away, but you can pull on some of it. And you automatically as you equip this tome and open it and start to read it, you now believe that you can comprehend any language as long as you focus on it long enough. You also gain an extreme increase in knowledge of history and things related to. So mechanically for this book, I added it to your sheet, the Tome of Understanding.
Yeah.
You can cast comprehend languages now from this book at will. You don't have to do it as a ritual. You can just cast it. That's an ability this book gives you. And you also gain proficiency and history checks. And you can also store a single memory by kind of thinking or writing in this book at a time for perfect recall. So if something happened, so this is more of like a player to a DM thing, but if
Yeah.
something happened and you didn't want to forget what it was, you tell me exactly what you want to have in this book as you want it to be, or and you can perfectly recall that memory at any point in the future, or you can replace it, and you can only have one memory in there at a time, and you can recall it as many times as you want, but you can also replace it at will. So you have one memory in there for perfect recall in the future. But as you're kind of looking at that, your hands kind of end up on that scroll, which ends up open in your lap. And it's written in deep speech, which is not a language that's written super often, at least in texts that you have seen. And it says, Swazu is where you will find some of the answers you seek. Travel there, find compatriots, answers, and power. Only then will you hear from me again. You get the feeling it's from the being that you communicated with. And as you kind of look at that, having no idea where Swazio is, you just get this rush of power from your book. It kind of flows over you like you're being hit in the face with hot magical air. And you now have this map in your mind, and you know where you need to go. You know how to get there, you know where it is, and you know the dangers along the way. You know that you are a few days away from this location, and you know that this location is in the Principality of Fey, where you have never been.
Okay.
So,
Whoa.
and look,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
and looking around, it still seems to be the same time that you fought this creature not too long ago, but your experience so far that you have had feels much, much longer.
We are we are going to take a breather for a second here.
Mm-hmm.
The headache is gone.
Gone. You feel perfectly clear headed for the first time since you left home, which makes you believe that maybe there is some credence to your father subconsciously protecting you
Yeah.
that this creature told you about.
Oh man. Now would be a pretty nice time to go back home. But I'm gonna come up here and put my back on one of these things
Mm-hmm.
and just take a second to rest.
They're
And
gravestones.
first on the grave. Oh, I'm sitting on the grave. This is fantastic. I don't.
There's also this fountain here that doesn't work, but you could sit against the fountain if you wanted to. If you don't want to sit
Um,
against a grave.
well, no. I think. Sorry, whoever's in the ground, but we are sitting at the grave because I want to be next to this body.
Kelly,
And
Sarah, and
first,
Brandon are in the ground.
oh no, don't tell me the names. Um, first, I want to like put that entire experience into the Tome of Understanding.
Okay.
Can I do that, or is that too big?
You want to put in the experience of you speaking with the being?
Yeah.
We'll say you can either put the experience of you in the realm where you talk to him, or the experience of the blood donation. One of those, but not the entirety of it.
That was a very suspicious blood donation.
Hmm.
Very suspicious.
But this is, and you can obviously remember these things in game two. This just gives you
Yeah.
like perfect detail for detail recollection of something. So if you feel
Thing.
like as a player you might forget something that's really important, you can just say, hey, this is what I want my perfect recall to be, and then that way I know what to write down. Just make a little note somewhere, so if I have to reference it later, I can also do
Yeah.
that.
It's going. It's gonna be where like what that environment was with all of the voices
Okay.
and the conversation we had.
Okay. And you don't even have to write it, you just think it, and it starts to appear. And it appears in
Oh.
whatever language you want it to be in. And if you want it to be in some type
It
of
can be in any language.
you have so because the book lets you cast comprehend languages at will, and comprehend languages lets you read any language, you can,
Oh,
I will say that for this perfect recall you can put it in any language, but this is the only thing that you can put in any language that you don't know, because you normally can only write languages that you do know.
yeah,
But because this book allows you to effectively decipher any language that you can read, you can
I
think
get
it
you.
and say what language you want it in, and you can
I
change
get
that
you.
language at any point. So,
I think we're gonna stick with deep speech though.
okay, cool. So it is your experience in that realm is recorded at perfect recall in deep speech.
I'm gonna write that down. And then I want to take out just like on another journal I have,
Mm-hmm.
which has just been like I've kept multiple little journals of my like just days going on, and this one was like the beginning of when I just left home. So
Yep.
it's only a couple pages in of just how the adventure's been going, which has been all dandy and fine with a storm and a little
Mm-hmm.
headache. But in that journal, I'd like to try to the best of my ability. Not much of an artist, but I want to copy the symbol carved onto this guy's back.
The symbol of Tharizdun? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can even basically, because his is a very simple version, it effectively just looks like a spiral. Just like a
Mm-hmm.
simple circle spiral. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, and you could even just write symbol of Tharizdun as you
Oh, yeah.
got confirmation from the being you were speaking with that that's what it was. So
And I just want to like write a quick summary
yeah,
of how this like corrupted duplicate of me.
yeah,
I pretty much just want to like take notes of what happened, and I want to just in the future, if I can find someone scholarly, maybe give it to them and like let them analyze it.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, you have all of that written down, and you know where you are requested to go. What is your plan of action? And also, you look around, and that storm that was chasing you doesn't seem to be there.
That's that's suspicious, man. I don't like this. I think. Oh, did I just fuck up? Oh shit, man. Um. Okay. I'm I'm seriously doubting myself right now, and I'm really thinking I made a bad decision here. But we have no other path before, and we are going to go to Joju.
Swazu.
Dude,
It's French. Don't worry. That's
got
why it's hard to say even for me.
got you. Yeah,
All right.
I think we're gonna spend a couple hours relaxing, maybe reading like some adventure book to just try to calm the nerves a little bit,
Yeah, for sure.
and then we're gonna start heading out.
All right. So you spend a little bit of time relaxing and kind of like recentering yourself from this trip that you just went on. Um, and you spend the next few days after that making your way through the little bits of the Zeflax Empire where you are right here. And you end up so you were basically over here to start with, somewhere in the Vosgate Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up down here in the Zeflex, and now you're kind of ended up over here in the Principality of Fice somewhere. So you're being a little cross-continental, cross-region adventurer now.
Yeah, I'm going everywhere.
And this little bit over here is also owned by Vosgate. So a little random island over there. But
Oh yeah.
yes, so you're making your travels. But with that, we will call that a session until the first session of the campaign. But you'll level up to level 2, and we'll handle all of
Yeah.
that right now after we end the session. So until next time, it was fun. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, you two.